Oh, welcome into the 14A Sports Radio Show. Hey, you're not Vert. Special Thanksgiving Eve edition coming at you live on this 27th of November, 2013. Before we start the show, I got to wish a special happy birthday shout out to my mother, Sue Walsh.
Oh, all right.
It's her birthday today. I forget how many. I can't do the math in my head right now.
While we're at it, it was my mom's birthday on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Give her a shout out as well.
All the moms getting their happy birthdays out there. But before we get into the show, as always, the 14A show is sponsored by the Big Apple Sports Palace. With wall-to-wall TVs, you'll never miss a beat of the action. Give them up a call today. Get some of the town's greatest food delivered to your door. 201-858-1075. Now, we're obviously missing a couple members of the team here tonight.
Yeah, I'm like lounging out here. I feel
know.
like I should have like a big recliner chair going.
The first time that nobody else was here, me and Vernon were talking about, we got all the wingspan going on.
No.
We got the wingspan.
Could see, look at me. I could be in the NBA.
I don't know. I know you had a little flag football game going on today.
Oh yeah, it was rough.
How'd that go?
Terrible.
Out in the elements out there?
Let's say defense was a high order, and offense was limited.
So we wanted the White Thunder defense in our fantasy league?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sweet.
Back to the old Army single T option.
Oh boy. That's never going to get it done in flag football.
No.
What was the final score?
Well, the first game was 2-1.
Okay.
And then we played the second game, and it was 3-0, and then it was called for darkness.
That'll happen. That'll happen with this lifestyle.
We're on the wrong end of the 3-0, but what are you going to do?
A very intimate setting here in the studio today. We've got nobody in the blue room, but as always, we've got Decision Dave on the ones and the twos going on tonight.
Holla.
Wow! Gotta love it. All right, so we got no guests on the show tonight either. You know, we're not trying to bring anybody in here on Thanksgiving Eve. We're just going to get a nice little show done out there, and then we'll see you out there at the fine establishments and all
Doing
the
a lot of
14
picks, though. Doing a lot of picks today.
A lot of picking, a lot of NFL analysis. That's what's going on today. Let's start up the 2-minute drill, baby.
Ding, ding, ding.
Tick, tick, tick. All right, so the Giants, they had this huge loss on Sunday, essentially ending their season. I know you were at the game out there on Sunday. Dallas ends up winning the game 24-21. What were your thoughts from your seat?
One word from that game is that it was freaking cold. As
a little frigid.
Arctic conditions, they said, and it felt every bit as cold as it did. So I'll give the players, a lot of props after I'm complaining about today playing this stupid flag football game.
Oh man!
Then they go out there and perform. The Giants. It was the Giants' season in a microcosm almost. You have that Cruz wacky fumble that goes right into the Dallas guy's hands. He runs back for the touchdown. They had 2 drives. They can't put it in the end zone. And that's been the difference for them all year. They scored. They had 4 scoring drives, but with the 2 field goals, you come up short in the end.
Yeah.
When the defense, when you need them to step up, they can't slow down Romo. Dallas runs the time down, and Tony Romo finally come out looking like the hero.
I feel like that's the main point to take away from this game is Dallas gets the ball with about 4.5 minutes left there at the end of the fourth quarter. Tony Romo finally has that drive where the world's essentially watching. That's the game of the week. That's the game everyone's watching.
New York market.
You got Indy, Arizona. Nobody cares about that. You got Oakland, Tennessee. Nobody's worried about that. So then Tony Romo. Huge 2 third down conversions in that game.
Yeah, Brian stepped up just as much as
the second one eventually leading to that game-winning field goal. But again, who the hell is covering Cole Beasley? You leave the white guy alone out there in the slot. That's what happens to me in flag football.
Who can cover Cole Beasley? That's the question.
I know he's a slippery little guy.
But I'm not really. Dallas wasn't really that impressive in the win, but they got it, and they're basically in the driver's seat. They got one more game against Philly, and they win 2 out of their next 3 or 3 out of their next 5. Then they basically should be in the playoffs.
Now let's break it down a little because the Giants aren't mathematically eliminated, but
yeah, but
internally
they got to get the division most likely.
That's it. That's all.
So Dallas has the tiebreaker head to head. So you figure that they can't tie records with them. So they got to at least be Dallas going to 7 losses. Or 8 losses, and the Giants don't. The Giants win out, and they still got Detroit on the road, Seattle at home.
Coming.
It's far. It could happen, but I doubt it.
Hey, this is why they play the games, Nips.
And it's as a Giants fan, you look back. You started 0-6. What do you want? What do you want to say? They could have done this. They could have done that. Yeah, they could have done this week 1 of the season.
They could have scored more than 0 points in Carolina somewhere down the line.
That Carolina team is good though. That's not as bad as a loss. Looking in retrospect.
All right, so from one New York team to the other, we had the Jets losing Baltimore this weekend. And I know we were talking before the show. You said you didn't watch this game. You didn't miss much. Actually, you didn't miss anything because it was probably one of the worst NFL games I've ever seen played. You got the goddamn wind tunnel going on there in Baltimore in the Inner Harbor right there.
Was there a touchdown scored in this game?
Yes, there was. Joe Flacco finally hit, I believe, Jacoby Jones, the dancing all-star.
All right.
He got himself in the end zone there. You know, Geno, 9 of 22 for 127, 2 INTs. And listen,
where's Matt Sims?
There's a lot of things that people are talking about right now, saying that maybe Geno should be replaced by Sims. I mean, obviously that's your stance on it. I got to tell you my stance though. You're not going to do much better with Matt Sims in that game. You're expecting Phil Sims III to come out here. That's not going to happen.
Is the same team they started the season with that nobody had high expectations for. Is the same team they had last year. They don't have any weapons.
Zero.
What do you want?
Zero.
I mean, you want him to bring him out like. I don't know who he's throwing the ball to. Santonio Holmes? Is Jeremy Curl even back yet?
Basically,
Kellen Winslow is on his last legs.
On offense, you got Geno Smith and 10 orange parking cones because the offensive line ain't doing much either.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
unless
horrible.
they can establish the run game, I mean, they really have limited offense unless they can get in solid positions where they get short field position, and then they could just hopefully move the ball down the field, get a field goal here and there, and turn and leverage that defense a little more. But even though the defense being solid all year, doesn't turn the ball over a lot, which
they don't.
They could definitely use with the young quarterback and not having a lot of weapons. I mean, it's just like.
Well, go ahead. I mean, I'm going to say, like in this game, Baltimore had amazing field position to start out each possession, and the Jets held them to field goals. That was why the Jets were in this game. Any other defense you put out there, it's probably a 34-3 game, whatever the hell it was. But the defense is actually what saved the game. No, it was 12-3 at one point. The Jets had the ball, a couple chances, to bring it in there. But overall, Geno Smith not gonna get it done with what you got to work with.
Nah.
We've seen this all season. He's had a couple games.
And I was gonna say, if the Jets won, then I would just say, don't ever pick the Jets when Mully's on them, or don't ever go against the Jets when Mully's on them.
Can't do it. Cannot do it.
Doesn't know how to pick the Jets games.
All right, so the next time, let's bring it. I mean, Jets are still in this playoff race. They got Miami coming to town this week. The line here is 2.5 Jets favored. I'm going to get into that in the NFL Pick 'em Chug segment a little later on. I got this game on my radar. I got it.
The one thing for the Jets this year, they played a lot better at home. All their big wins versus Saints, versus New Orleans, both home games. Yep. They played pretty bad on the road. I kind of bring this up the past couple of weeks. That one Atlanta win on the road is a lot less impressive now.
They suck. We
Atlanta.
see how bad they suck now.
But again, look at a guy like Matt Ryan without Julio Jones. Look at how Matthew Stafford plays when Calvin Johnson is in there. I know that these are all-star guys, but give the Jets a half a guy that is good as one of those guys. And hopefully you can do something. He can't work magic out there by himself.
And you just talked about Stafford. There was the one game where he's missing Calvin Johnson in Green Bay, and they didn't do a damn thing.
And they looked terrible. They looked a whole different offense.
They looked horrible. All right, so going into this game against Miami, both teams same record there. I believe 5-6 there. You got a clusterfuck of teams right there in that 6th spot.
Yeah, that 6th spot in the AFC is going to be
very interesting.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be interesting.
I like the Jets this week just based on one predication. You've got that amazing New York Jets defensive line going up against a parking cone offensive line in the Miami Dolphins. They're horrible. They got no bully Richie Incognito. They got no wussy boy Jonathan Martin. They got nothing to work with.
Yeah, I'm torn on this game. I like the Jets back at home a little more, but Miami's actually shown a little something the past 2 weeks. They played Carolina pretty tough last weekend, and Carolina had to pull that game out at the end.
They sure did.
Because we were watching a lot of that game at the tailgate. We had that set up. And
keep going. We'll bounce off.
And they looked really good. The defense held down Cam Newton, and they were able to move the ball on Carolina's D, which I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And, they had to settle for field goals at the end of the day, and Cam was able to bring him back. But that's why good teams win and bad teams lose. It's a difference maker.
Miami did cover that line. I saw that coming with a trap line right there. Obviously.
And that was a tough game for Carolina if that big New England win.
Absolutely. All right, so RG3 looked like a complete abomination on Monday Night Football, but you're going up against the San Francisco 49ers. you got a couple experts out there, even Ahmed Brooks, coming out and saying he shouldn't even be there. He shouldn't even be out on the field. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the plays that they were showing and what Washington was running was just quick pitch outs and screens and nothing really down the field.
That's all they really had time for.
And and if RG3 is not healthy, I mean, his biggest weapon, I mean, and you could throw Kaepernick in this pool too, is his legs.
Yeah,
and extending plays and being able to move around and get free, or that threat of the run and him going on the move. If that threat's not there and you make him one-dimensional, I mean, again, Washington isn't a place that has tons of superstars on the outside. I mean, they have Pierre Garçon's a solid guy. Then you got Santana Moss, Leonard Hankerson, a bunch of other guys that I have no idea. And, I mean, the 49ers are going to, they obviously went to shut down the run, put it on RG3, and they couldn't do anything with it. And the one mistake I thought they made was when Washington went for it. I think on the 49ers 40.
Absolutely. That's where the whole tide of the game turned.
Basically they were down 10-6. I mean, if they just kicked it and let their defense, who was playing really well to that point, just keep on playing, and you got to play the game field position at that point, especially if your offense isn't moving the ball. You just kind of be patient and hope the other team makes a mistake.
Absolutely. That definitely changed the tide of the game. And then the one interception that RG3 threw earlier, I mean, they had pretty good – they were moving the ball decently. I think the Niners picked that off at around midfield. But again, you're right. Especially against the Niners, you need your legs to make plays happen because they were showing the one where Aldon Smith was going against. I don't even know the guy's name over there at the right tackle, but he was just getting abused all night.
Yeah,
So
they were on RG3 a lot.
With these receivers out there, I understand that Pierre Garçon is maybe a little below an elite receiver in the NFL, but listen. I wrote about this today on 14asports.com. Go check that out. 3 things that we learned about Week 12 of the NFL.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, the San Francisco 49ers have a defense full of sick individuals. Yeah. Like, they'll run into your house,
Bowman, Patrick Willis,
take a leak all over your Thanksgiving dinner, and then probably eat it if need be. I mean, those are the kinds of guys that are on the
Another interesting thing about Washington, they don't have their first-round draft pick this year because of the RG3 trade.
I don't think they have their second or their third either.
I know they give up a lot of picks, but I know the first-rounder was definitely in St. Louis's court.
I saw that graphic on ESPN. That's just heartbreaking. All right, so we got the big weekend in college football going on this Saturday. The Iron Bowl with number 1 Alabama traveling to number 4 Auburn.
Catherine Webb very nervous about this game.
Hello, Catherine. Then you got number 6 Clemson and Taj Boyd rolling in to face Spurrier and his number 10 Gamecocks. Number 21 A&M at number 5 Mizzou. Now I know that the Alabama Auburn game is obviously the game of the week. What else are you looking for from this weekend?
Well, I mean, I like the Auburn-Alabama game, but I'm also looking forward to Notre Dame-Stanford. Little homer, homer call, but I mean, Notre Dame's played tough this year, and Stanford's obviously been playing well all season long. So I think that'll be a good game on Saturday night. But I think Bama might just crush Auburn. I mean, it seems like everybody Bama plays, they just put them down. I don't know if there's anybody in their same class.
I got to tell you, I think Auburn can give them a little bit of problem.
I mean, if Auburn didn't pull that Hail Mary out of there.
Absolutely, you could say ass. This is internet radio.
I know. I'm trying to keep
tushy if you.
I'm trying to keep it to a family radio show. But
good luck with that.
But yeah, I mean, if they didn't pull that out of their ass, versus Georgia, even though they were winning most of that game and crushing them. But I mean, I just haven't seen anybody be able to even stay in the same field with Bama this year.
Texas A&M did a decent job. Auburn beat Texas A&M, so you can look at the common opponents in that one. Listen, this is a big rivalry game, Yeah. I know Alabama's favored by 10 in this one, but still, in a rivalry game like this with so much on the line, you gotta wonder what's gonna happen here. I think Auburn will cover the 10. I don't think Alabama's gonna lose this game. Might be looking at like a field goal, maybe touchdown kind of game in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be tight either way. I mean, a lot of hype to it. I mean, but I always feel disappointed with the college games that get overhyped. And I think I mentioned this before. It seems like there's always this hype to it, and then there's this one lopsided victory, and the other team just runs them off the field. But
yeah, well, let's say Alabama's got the best players in the country year in, year out. We know this. They got the best coach in the league.
Is just
insane. You could just pluck people off of there and put them in an NFL starting lineup any day of the week.
I'll also be interested to see if Jadeveon Clowney can do anything this year. I don't know if he's just been kind of going 50% the whole time. Doesn't want to get hurt because
he's insured himself.
He's already got his ticket punched to the NFL, but.
We'll get into that maybe a little in the next segment, but I think he's got to be the number 1 pick. I understand, and Jacksonville's just played themselves out of the number 1 pick. So
yeah, what are they doing?
I don't.
Well, no, there's a couple teams right there with 2 wins that are all right playing.
Well, Atlanta right today would be the number 1 pick. Has the season end today. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this A&M Mizzou game. If Manziel comes out with a good performance here, maybe throws himself back in the Heisman race after that atrocity that went down in Baton Rouge the other day. Not looking forward to that. I mean, that's Taj Boyd. He needs to up his draft credibility. He was a guy that maybe could have been the number 2 pick right behind Bridgewater. But it doesn't look like that many, the teams that need quarterbacks. I feel
like all those quarterbacks are kind of...
little mishmash.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were kind of all, definitely a number one guy, definitely number one guy. I don't know if you look at any of these guys, especially after what RG3 and Kaepernick are going through now.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And, I think we're going to see that, Atlanta, I think they're going to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Maybe Houston.
Houston.
Ooh, they could definitely use a quarterback.
Case Keenum?
Yeah, he's not the guy. He's not the guy.
You had a case of Keenum, Michael?
Do you even like Case Keenum? No. All right, so let's close off the segment right now with the NBA. The Nets and the Knicks, they are both struggling to the bone.
Ooh.
Now we got...
Our boys in the DX show before talking about the Knicks, man. Everybody's killing them.
That's
Amari's
right.
killing Melo. There's not enough ball movement going on.
My favorite is Melo comes out the other day and he says, "We need to move the ball." Whoa!
Hello,
do you
Melo.
like that? Do you even know how to move the ball, Melo? I don't even think he's moved the ball a day in his life.
That's something I put on Woodson and the coaching staff because especially this team and the offense a lot reminds me of now 2 years ago before Linsanity started. And it's a lot of isolation. It's a lot of guys standing around and hoping just to hit threes, and that's their whole offense.
Yeah.
They have no motion when Melo's in the post, and they have nothing going on. It's just like Melo trying to dribble, trying to shoot from the elbow, and if not, he's either passing it out for somebody to make a terrible play or just an isolation drive. There's
he's another one. He's like the Geno Smith of the New York Knicks. He's looking for other people to help out here. Hardaway's probably the best piece that he's got on this team right now. Obviously, missing Tyson Chandler, that's not helping.
No,
Maury plays like an 85-year-old woman nowadays with the
every
injuries.
other night.
I mean, the defense, too. My God, the defense. At least if you play some defense, you can make up for some of that lackadaisical attitude. I don't know what's going on. I was listening to the radio the other night.
I think the Knicks will still turn out to be about a 500 team.
No.
By the end
absolutely
of the day.
not. Absolutely not. Not happening.
I mean, we could put like 5 beers on that right now if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. You will not be a 500 team.
All right, I think they will be a 500 team.
They will not. Well, let's bring it across the bridge over to Brooklyn. They finally get a win last night over the Toronto Raptors. Barely.
Almost blew it.
Did you see Jason Kidd's face when they won the game? he the guy missed the 3 at the end, and he's like,
yes, NBA championships, here we come.
Mad. He was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. If I lost this game, I would have been fired immediately." And he probably should have been, But I'm in class last night. I'm looking at what's going on. I see we got a 15-point lead. I'm like, yeah, Jeets. And I'm like, we're gonna have this easy. I go to look at other scores around the league, and I see that we won by 2 points. That's stupid. That's foul.
Yeah, and I was hearing some, a little
supposed to be
analysis
an
on
NBA
this game
champion
today.
Team.
And apparently the bench got them a lot of that lead. And then they went back with the starters, who then lost that lead.
Well,
but I mean, a win's a win. I mean, they've been bitten by the injury bug. I mean, you really haven't had a lot of your starting 5.
Yeah,
the whole season.
Granted, you're missing a lot of guys out there: Karolinko, Williams. Everybody.
And Williams and Lopez were supposed to be the 2 big pieces that were going to carry this team with Joe Johnson, and then have Pierce and KG kind of come in and be like the the role players. Whereas KG and Pierce and Joe Johnson are kind of carrying the team now, and Garnett just doesn't look like the player that he was last year, or
he's saving himself.
Guy.
But the interesting thing about this division with the Knicks and the Nets is that all you have to do is win this division, and you'll be one of the top 4 seeds there. So in essence, and now the Nets, I guess they were 2 games out last night. Something
and the East. I mean, with Derrick Rose going down, that changes the whole landscape of the East. I mean, it seems like you have the Heat and the Pacers at the top as like the 2 that are
back to the good old days, which was like 2 years ago. But
the 2 Giants, and then everybody else is kind of battling for that 3 through 8 spot.
Oh yeah.
So you're not as worried as being like a 6 or a 5 seed now, because you might not be playing one of the Bulls or the Nets that might, or the Nets could go on the road and maybe beat whoever slides to that 3 or 4 spot.
Yeah, it's a good position to be in, since we all suck so bad here. But listen, with Toronto leading the division right now at 6-8. I feel very comfortable that, one of us will at least jump to the upper echelon of the Atlantic.
Yeah, I mean, I think as the season plays on, it will kind of that looks ugly. I see
It's
Charlotte
horrible.
there.
Look at that.
I see Charlotte in the playoff picture right there.
We're respectively the third and fourth worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't really looked at it like to break it down, but I feel like the Knicks have played a pretty tough schedule so far. So we'll see as the season goes along. If I mean, they played even the past couple of games, they played the Trailblazers the other day, the Rockets the past week, the Pacers last week. So
how about these Portland Trailblazers?
Yeah,
at 13-2, 11 wins in a row. You got the Spurs 13-1.
Yeah, the West is where
the West looks like they would take a flat out dump on the chest of the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah,
it is not where you want to be right now in the Western Conference.
But still, the two best teams might still be in the East.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So,
all right, let's hit the commercial.
LeBron says no dumps yet.
No dumps. No dumps. All right, let's hit the commercial break right now. When we get back, we're going to break down these Thanksgiving Day games that are going on tomorrow. We got Detroit, Green Bay. We got Oakland, Dallas. We got Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Going to be a great day of football as you're sitting there stuffing yourself with Triflin.
Oh, yeah. What?
Yeah.
Triflin?
Triflin? Yeah.
I don't think that's
I know, that's probably, what is it? Tryptophan, whatever.
Triflin?
I just eat it. I don't worry about how to pronounce it.
Walsh trying to make some homemade roofies. It's called Triflin.
Those are the roofies that they make in Trenton. Got me all messed up. All right, we're for today's Sports on 15 Minutes of Fame Radio. We'll be right back with the NFL Thanksgiving Day recap.